One, welcome back to another episode of Homegrown, where we make the amazing attempt of tying all the loose pieces of Washingtonian D.C. culture. Now, the most beautiful thing about D.C. is we're only roughly around, 10 square miles. I'm not one of those haters. I include parts of Maryland. I include parts of Virginia. But it is very, very, very steeped in a particular culture. And we have something to say. You know, hate to steal from Andre 3000, but we got something to say. And we're unique. We're beautifully unique in the space that there's nothing else like it. And quietly, we've humbly let everybody take. So this is our opportunity to tell what we are doing, what we have done, and why the universe has decided that we're a great place to take from. I said this in the other one. We are the black pool from which 90% of everything swell from. From fashion, music, politics. And I said this too, Atlanta, you're going to be mad. Atlanta, you're trying to be us. You're trying to be us, and that's not a diss to Atlanta, but Atlanta, you're trying to be us. You want to be the metropolis that we are, but you want to skip steps. There's no skipping of the steps. There's no skipping of the steps.
We have to put a disclaimer on this. I do not. I have many future employers in Atlanta, so please.
That's not a diss to Atlanta. Atlanta is an amazing place. I just don't want Atlanta to skip steps. That's it.
Okay.
That was very DC of you, and
I just don't want Atlanta. I think Atlanta has potential. Is through the roof.
Right.
I just need them not to skip steps.
Okay.
Yes, you're an amazing sous chef. That doesn't mean you get to run you don't get to run a restaurant yet.
Right? Okay.
But the potential is there, and I see it, and we all see it.
Dang.
Take your time, young man.
Usually people say that about DC. I've never heard it in the reverse.
I love using junior lyrics. Take your time, young man. Don't rush to get old.
That was
right?
it. That was
but
very DC.
Today we're talking about an amazing documentary that everyone is clamoring about. All right? It's called Almost to Awesome. And it's been put together for the last 2.5 years by some amazing people who have put in countless hours of creating it and got enough footage to do the documentary at least 11 times.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, because I sat down with you guys for 2.5, 3 hours.
For sure.
And that was me alone.
Yeah.
And I'm a part of a very big puzzle. And I know that the amount of footage and stuff you guys, but I digress. What I want to do is introduce you to each person, but I always start with the introduction of myself. Now, this documentary is about hip-hop, and hip-hop in D.C. Now, first glance, everybody goes, hip-hop, D.C., you know, the left eyebrow goes up a little further because immediately we're associated with go-go, as we should be. But how many of you understand that go-go music is part of the lifeblood of the beginning of hip-hop? Those park jams had multiple go-go break beats in it. So Kool Herc, Flash, Bam, they played some very classic go-go records, maybe that 4.5 seconds of it, that was the break, but they were go-go records.
Talk to him,
So it's always been infused in it, and if you ask any true music historian, they will tell you go-go is the most dangerous music. Go-go is the most dangerous music based on the fact that the musicianship and that it can mold into whatever it is. We've seen go-go take reggae records. We've seen go-go take Adele. We've seen go-go take jazz standards. We've seen go-go take Raphael Sadiq. We've seen go-go Sade. We've seen go-go take anything and make it its own, so it's the most dangerous music. But there's a rich hip-hop history here because they've run hand in hand.
No doubt.
With me, hip-hop took me over in 1984. First rap record I ever purchased, Roxanne, for my cousin for Christmas. But that's another story. And I've watched and enveloped in hip-hop for a while and watched it here grow, stall, start and stall.
Stall
and failure to launch.
Yeah.
I've seen that whole thing the whole time. So I have the director and producers of this amazing film here. I have my man Naeem Cobb, also known as Sixx Shooter.
Oh, my government. My government is out.
Man, come
cut
on,
that.
Bro.
Cut it. Cut it. Cut it out. Cut it.
Man, Sixx Shooter. Six, man, it was beautiful. Can I share a story about you?
Yes, you can. Sorry, Ange. I just want to move this paper off because I know we filming off the table. Sorry, this film guy. So I apologize.
That's my
Sorry if you got cut.
But
yeah.
But no, what I want to share with them is watching you become a filmmaker. All I know is he was working at KYS with me in the promotions department. Very charismatic guy. He's tall. He's dark skinned. He had dreads. Girls, found their way to him the whole nine. I watched that play out.
Well.
And but then one day, his close friend Tabby Bonet tells him to pick up a camera. He picks it up. We never see him again. He kind of just runs off and starts doing stuff. And next thing you know, every 3.5 local videos from this area are shot by him.
The best ones.
The best ones. So it
I
starts out with
appreciate
being filmed by Tabby and Sixx. Then it's just Sixx. Then it's just Sixx. And it happens for almost 5 years straight. Like if you were going to do a video here, you were going to him. So watching him turn that out, I wanted to say I was very proud of you, but that leap of faith is amazing. Because
And scary.
it's scary, and I think that's always been part of DC's problem with the hip hop scene. It's a failure to launch. It's scary. And as I speak to you, I speak to myself. Everything you want is on the other side of failing, and
sure.
that's hard to hear.
Facts.
That's hard to hear. I don't care where you are in your life. You can be 7, you can be 77. That fear of failing and failing in front of people, that's the hard part. Failing alone, we can accept, but failing in front of people is where it gets really hard at. And we have the gentleman Bio here who was here when I did my interview thing. It's just amazing to watch him pull out these beautiful secrets. I'll share this. During my segment, I cried.
Yeah, that was it.
So when they were filming me, we got to a certain segment where we talked about a friend of mine, and I cried. And they kept filming, and I didn't even mind. So he has an amazing ability to pull out the deeper parts because, like I said, we're all a deep black well, and I wanted to have them both come here to talk about this amazing documentary, why it's important, why they shot it, why is it taking so long, how was the process of gathering all these people. So I want to start at the infancy. Ayo. Why? Because the why is why it's been 3.5 years. Because everyone stops after they can't remember the why. So tell me about the why.
Why was our good friend Baki Thomas, used to be manager for Tabby Bonet. He felt that there were so many stories in the DC hip hop history that was untold. Everybody just thinks hip hop, they think Wale, and just automatically, And but there are literally hundreds of, maybe even thousands of stories that go untold that are amazing. And hence the title, Almost to Awesome, and the awesome being kind of Wale, but all the almost stories that were kind of just right there to being as big or are bigger than Wale, but for whatever reason it didn't work out. So Baki wanted to tell those stories, and me and Sixx, we were there for it. We were like, yeah, let's tell these stories. Like,
first person you guys got to interview, like the first one, you're like, okay, let's start here. Who did you decide to start with?
Ooh, who was the first person? Was it Nonchalant? Doing the first.
The first time I started, we started with Kokai, who is a wealth of information. It was a mixed bag that day.
You street ambassador.
Yeah, and just knows, like yourself, just knows so much about DMV history. Yeah, we got Nonchalant, but we got people as we could get them also. It wasn't about we started with the most important person. We tried to get the most important person, but, like you, Aaron, you took we had like 15 scheduling.
Let's talk about that. It took we had to schedule Aaron about 10 times. That just show you the level. Wale was like 11, Aaron was like 10. You know what I'm saying? Just to show you what level he's at.
Exactly. But we had to get Aaron no matter how many times.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. With each time, it was just a scheduling issue. But when the schedule opened, man, I was very anxious to do it based on the fact that with the history of hip hop in DC, you're right. It had, first of all, it was getting told by Washingtonians versus someone from the outside, right? And there are very important parts that I just think were just underserved because before there was the rap scene, there was a b-boy hip-hop scene, like mid-'80s.
Right.
Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the breakdance scene of D.C. That, Frank Ski is literally the epicenter of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what was it? His crew was called the IBM crew, and all that Splinter Cell stuff, and Lord Lyell. from this rap group called the Beggars. They were really running tandem with Wu-Tang. Okay. So what if I told you DC had its own Wu-Tang at the same time Wu-Tang was happening, and they were friends?
Yeah, you talked about that in your interview.
They were literally friends. So RZA and this guy on the phone all day, talking karate movies and breakbeats the whole day, and it's the same thing happening. So I think those stories need to be told. One of the things that I think people really get messed up is that I think the failure to launch is because everyone wanted to be first.
Yeah, I mean, I would say everybody wants to be first. That's for sure. And then we had like, you know, jumping out there, wanting to be a rapper was Bamified. You know what I'm saying? I was about to say Bama-ish, but I'm trying to keep it radio. Was Bamified. Like that wasn't. I don't even remember like a huge rush. I mean, from the street side until maybe 2000 or something like that when people kind of started rap. But it was like, oh, you on that New York, or you know, oh, you're not rapping with a go-go band, or you know what I mean. And we have like, you know, we talk about that and it's our culture to not go too far because that's Bamified. Like really, let's take your situation, right? I called you like 10 times or something like that. Back in the day, if I didn't know you like that, I'd call you once. Be like, oh, he saw my phone call. You know what I'm saying? I called twice. I'm not calling him back. You know what I mean? And that's a bridge. Imagine all those bridges of people doing stuff like that. The culture we come from, you know, me and Bio talk about that all the time. Like, man, call him back a third time. Call him back a fourth time. Let's not get on how we grew up so we can expand. You know what I'm saying? But
I always said, just add this. The first 20, all through the 80s and 90s is almost like this big competition of, we're not gonna be like New York, like that. I feel like that. If you had to summarize one big through line of that whole time, it's like we're not gonna be like them Bamas. We're not gonna follow and do hip hop. We have go. Like screw that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting is that as much as they hip hop and rap, true DC people who didn't really fall into the DC the New York state of mind of hip hop, how they easily gravitated to Houston. So everything on Rap-A-Lot worked.
Yeah.
Big Mike, like wait a minute, so you Big Mike over Rakim, like how? Hey, hello, and it was no problem for them. They were unshook and unwavered in that. But there were these people really trying, like okay, of course everybody remembers DC Scorpio.
For sure.
Vinny D, $55 Motel. That was a big
shout out to
record.
DC Scorpio, who's somebody who we tried to get 15 times.
For sure.
Who like flaked on us a million times, but you know, gave us a great interview at the end of the day. But he flaked on us.
And it is, you know, the point you bring up, it talks to is like, is us again, right? We be like, man, we not from the South. We ain't now. Somebody say we got a country accent. We like, man, we ain't no Southern band. You know what I mean? But yeah, we love Houston. You know what I mean? We love most of the music we like. Is, you know, Tupac, who is not, you know, quintessential New York. You know what I mean? West Coast and stuff like that. And I think it's a mix of like us. We just have to be different. Like I said, from our socks to our New Balance to our, you know, we took pride in like being the opposite of whatever was popular. You know, and that helped us be who we are, but it hurt us in expansion, you know?
So is there a possible release date? Do you guys have a release date? Or we still still some final editing that needs to be done?
You want to talk about that? I mean, we're like, interviews are pretty much done. We're just getting some like B-roll, some like just little kind of like culture pieces of like putting people together. Like we just did Odyssey and Rosenberg and Diamond District, kind of walking like, you know, walking that path. So we're doing those pieces. Then post, then you got to sell it, and then premiere. So yeah, probably just like next year, top of next year.
I don't want to say a highlight, but when you got a yes for this person to do the interview, which y'all go, oh, we pulled that one off. Who was it?
Hey, honestly, for me, it just
Odyssey.
No, it was Wale, honestly, because like you, Aaron, he took a few attempts. Like we had to go out there. We had to go to LA to actually go interview him.
Wow.
And then he gave us the runaround kind of the whole day, and but he finally did it, and it was great. But yeah, I would say when we got Wale, it was like, because Wale is at the very middle of all of it, you know.
Yeah.
No matter if you like it or not, that's what it is.
It wasn't the same for me because, you know, I've known Wale for a long time, so it was more like my cousin.
Get on the phone.
I know I got to go through some steps, you know what I'm saying? I know, but you my cousin, cuz we might not have talked since 3 months, you know what I mean? But you better do this interview, so it was a little bit different for me. I mean, you know, of course I appreciate him as a brother of mine, but yeah, I would have. he know we would have had a problem if he would have. Yeah, he just totally turned us down. So.
What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions? Like this documentary is going to clear up this misconception about hip hop in D.C.
That's a good question.
I think the first misconception would be that we had a lot of these rap artists since the 80s. You know?
I don't. I'm be honest with you. The first rap artist I ever saw was late 80s. 89, maybe 90. And then the signings like Question Mark Asylum and stuff like that.
Right.
But then here's the hard part. It's hard to be a DC artist where the rest of the pool of hip hop is stealing from your stuff. So Salt and Pepper stealing your thunder, Kid and Play stealing your thunder. Rare Essence, probably the biggest hook of their life. Jay-Z took it.
Right.
What was Jay's response? Was like, y'all borrow from us, so why can't we take?
Yeah, Go-Go takes everything from everybody else. That's what he said.
Yeah, that was his argument.
There's a difference between a cover and a copyright. We cover everything. We don't copyright.
Right.
There's a cover and a copyright, but I think it had a hard time finding its footing. And again, we had to get over ourselves. We had to get over ourselves on some is Bama. Like even the street guys, like, did y'all really appreciate Section 8 Mafia?
Yeah, Section 8.
The Oi boys, did y'all really appreciate? Like, y'all want everything to be super street? Did y'all appreciate that?
Not like they should have. Not like they should have. They weren't. They were very known and very popular, but not. We didn't push them out. We were still heavy into the go-go, man. We we talked about this in the doc. Go-Go gave us everything that hip-hop was offering. It gave us, we had our own style.
Yep.
We had our own economy.
Yep.
We had our own advertising to get the music out to people.
Yep.
We had our own music that connected to neighborhoods.
Yep.
that you could, it's the one thing to get a shout out on a hip-hop tape, but you can go live and get a shout out right there on the spot. And it's, arguably the best performance you're going to see, the best party, the best show that you're going to get, And that's what's going to make you go 5 times a week, paying $25, $50 for women.
For a band that you saw earlier this week.
Yes, indeed.
I think DC didn't really see what hip-hop had to offer until the music videos. When it was just songs, it was cool. It was like, lack of a better word, it might have been a novelty. It might have been a novelty, but once they saw it, like, like the music videos, like, I was here, so I watched it. I watched it, like, they started paying attention, like, okay, the Dapper Dan stuff and stuff like that kind of started to filter. DC ain't never dressed like Grandmaster Flash, never dressed like Run DMC, never dressed like Houdini, did none of that until the Rakim that looked a little cooler. Didn't dress like no Joe Ski Love, didn't dress like none of that. You know what I'm saying? So when it kind of had a better looking pivot to it, it kind of got involved, and then those artists became performing artists as they came here to do one song. But then, smart enough not to go after the band, though. Yeah, Heavy D, you got 3 big records, but you do not want to go after these dudes crank for 25 minutes straight. You'll get your feelings hurt. You running man yourself right back to Mount Vernon.
I mean, I got an interesting take on that whole thing. Like, DC is a beautiful story. Like, I feel like everything happened at the right time. Like, our fact that Go-Go dominated, like, we weren't trying to be like New York. It's so beautiful. I feel like screw it. Like still screw New York. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, DC experience is, there are a select few who couldn't take advantage of, because they wanted to be hip hop artists and being catapulted to like national, international stardom. Yeah, but at the same time, we stayed ourselves. And I feel like we're the only city, the black city in the United States of America, who truly like stayed ourselves for a very long time until maybe just recently.
Well, I've said this story before, and I think I even shared it with you guys. Very controversial mindset on Go-Go. And my thing is, Go-Go, you're the most charmed music of all time. You're charmed based on the fact that you did not explode. You still literally have absolute control over your genre. Yeah. Corporate America hasn't stepped in and ruined it for you. You're not inundated with people asking you to water down whatever you're doing. Yeah. The question, and here's my stupid analogy I use. Yes, 50 Cent in the club is bigger than any Go-Go song, but 50 Cent can't tour Queens for 35 years.
He can't. Backyard
Band will be paying 3 more times this week. It is Monday. They're going to play 3 more times this week to the same audience. There is no new 200 people.
Yeah.
They were just playing it Safeway. I saw on Instagram.
So,
Yeah.
so
That was crazy.
On Alabama Avenue.
It went locally viral that they
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the charm, the very thing that quote unquote go-go wants will be its poison.
Mm-hmm. And it's a big secret too. Like, I'm in the film industry, so we go around the country and stuff like that. And they talk about people they know that are from this area, so they know Big G from as Slim Shaw's on The Wire. And I'd be like, man, G is like the lead mic of like one of the most popular, if not the most popular go-go band of all time. And they'd be like, what? Like, are you serious? What is go-go? Like, they're just blown away. I'm like, yeah. Like, at home, he's known for. At home, he's known for. I mean, he's a giant in this music, and compared to his acting career, and they're blown away. I'm like, yeah, man, and they want to know more about it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, it's deep.
And like you said, man, with the music and everything, it doesn't exactly have to leave here to survive. It's self-sustaining. Right. It's an like you said, it's an economy of its own. You don't need a text blast. You don't need a flyer.
No.
I mean, when the last time was there a go-go poster?
Yeah.
There's no need for that stuff.
Yeah.
People know where you are. They kind of follow the whole thing. And the other weird controversial thing is the rudest art form of all time, because I've never seen any other art form where you can go up there in your normal clothes. I've seen guys get on there performing in their Park Service uniforms, and they tune their instruments up in front of you, even though you've been at the venue for 2 hours. They have no problem with sitting there tuning their guitar in front of you.
We love it.
And we don't mind.
We love it.
We like on the PA tape. We like to hear the air. We like to hear the
and you
the
love
talking,
it. You
know what I mean?
You don't get mad at it at all.
Yeah.
So do you think, because you guys have done the hip hop one, that the go-go community will be like, hey, that you jumped a step?
Well,
Ooh, that's a good question.
there actually is one being made by what's our man's name? Chucky Thompson was working on one with Kirk Frazier.
With Kirk Frazier,
yeah. So I believe they're still working on that one.
Yeah.
So there was no overlap. Like, we just felt like this was a story that was true to us as well. So, and there's a lot of go-go stories to be told. We might still do one.
Yeah. They had one on TV one not too long ago. But yeah, I would love to. It had to be like a 10-part series, because you got to start. I mean, it's just to tell it
There's
right.
so many forgotten bands, and I'm just talking about from the '80s.
Yeah.
Before the alphabets, like the forgotten man. And I always found it very majestic, the big names of go-go bands. Like Rare Essence is not. That's up there with Earth, Wind and Fire. That's big. It's not like we Lil Mike and the Tyrells. Like, no, we're Rare Essence. We're Experience Unlimited. Like these big lofty names. Trouble Funk not so much, but those other ones, those are like these
Pure Elegance. Yeah.
Pure Elegance. These huge like these what who put the battery in your back? But it works. But it works. Now, the thing with all the hip hop stuff here in growing, do you see us being a viable place? Well, and everybody wants to be the next Atlanta. Do you see DC trying to be the next Atlanta, or DC will just be its own microcosm for itself? That's
a good question. One thing we haven't brought up, which is another reason why Atlanta was able to take off from what I watched, was the cost of living. So a lot of people that were in the industry, DJs that were kind of middle ground, that maybe touring, that weren't making multi-millions, but making maybe a couple $100,000. You take that money down to Atlanta, right? Your money doubles. So if you're able to live a national schedule and make national money and bring that to Atlanta, you could have a mansion. So a lot of the industry had moved down to Atlanta early. A lot of people from New York had gotten offices and stuff like that and was making their money kind of double and triple down there. So that was a good base. So yeah, I don't know if everybody has to move here for us to take off. I think we just have to be proud to be unified and proud to be out there, which was, I think, held up early because it was just like all about DC, Maryland. You really couldn't say, you know what I mean? You really couldn't throw your flag back then. Virginia, you really couldn't throw your flag, even though they were involved in the economy, you know what I mean?
And then somebody got to put up that big bag of money. Like, with Atlanta, L.A. Reid, Babyface came there and they started building infrastructure. I think one thing that we've heard over and over and over again is we ain't got no infrastructure. We don't have the things and the support from our government. There are a lot of tax credits in Atlanta. There are a lot of, arts programs that are supported by the industry there. So, Mayor Bowser, if you know, like, let's put up some money. Let's let somebody like a Wale, somebody Kenny come back, and put a bag up.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know, like, when you see a lot of programs that were shot in Atlanta, when you see that Georgia peach at the end, or that made in Georgia, that's a tax write-off. Yeah, so if you just by putting putting that logo and having the made in Georgia, that's tax write-off. Yeah, so like stuff like that.
Wait. That peach at the bottom right-hand corner is a tax write-off.
Yeah, it's already a tax write-off to shoot in Georgia, but you get an extra write-off just by putting that made in Georgia logo at the end of your stuff. Yeah.
And no one, and we haven't figured that out.
I think they don't care.
I don't think we have to put 2 drumsticks at the bottom.
It's a bonus.
Yeah, no, they should.
Yeah.
They should.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one of the challenges that we come, like me and Sixx, we're really starting to get into more narrative films. But we actually just shot our last one of Sixx's last short films right before the pandemic in the Virgin Islands, and they were very accommodating us. And to get that kind of support here, there are some tax credits, there are some benefits, but it's hard, man. There's a lot of red tape. There's obviously, as you know, like there's the federal jurisdiction, there's the local jurisdiction. So it's so many different people you have to get permits for. There's so little money that you can pull from.
And how rare is it that Washingtonians tell their story? I don't think New Yorkers told hip hop correctly. You know what I'm saying? So, and the last thing you want is someone else telling the story, and the importance of it. So, again, please. Beat the horse on.
Well, yeah,
important.
There are 2 sides to DC, right? And I think everybody around the world knows DC as being the political, epicenter of the entire world, right? But for us, real Washingtonians, real people from the DMV area, that's not the case. We don't care what's going on at the White House and the Capitol and all that stuff. But this is our stories. This is the stories of the real DC, the stories of the rich history of go-go to, the hip hop, trendsetters that we had here, and how we felt like New York is a bunch of Bamas, and how separated we are from DC, Maryland, Virginia being one small area, but we're totally different, but trying to figure out how we can work together. So just like DC, man, it's just an amazing place, and it isn't about what bills get passed here. It's about like real people, like me and you.
The people. I think the one of the things that makes your story so important is that it may be the one thing that ties everyone together. Maybe after seeing this, everyone will see the errors. Like, wow, this is the moment we could have been in Atlanta, and this is what we didn't do. Wow. This is the moment where that label could have been Death Row, and we didn't do it. Like Chucky had a full-fledged label here.
A couple people, yeah. Chucky, Rich Harrison.
Rich Harrison had a full-fledged label here.
Kenny Burns.
Kenny Burns had a full-fledged label here.
Raheem and Dre.
A full-fledged
BOA.
label.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on with people expending resources, but our inability to cohesively work together.
Yeah, I think there's like a underlying thing of like, all right, once you get to a certain level, if you don't move, you kind of like freeze, right? So like a lot of our artists move to LA or move to Atlanta, which is kind of true. You can get stuck here, but I think it's like once you get out there, reaching back, who's that next artist that's at that ceiling that you need to pull? And hey, come out to LA, come out to, or let me come back home and do a song with you and bring the whole neighborhood out. I might have to say I haven't seen that. You don't see that often. Like you used to see in other cities, like a big rapper comes back and the whole, it's 3 or 4 artists that you've seen from there, and it could be the beef. You know what I mean? But I think I love to see that.
Well, maybe this weekend I don't know when this will play, but we're actually in the week of the Something in the Water Festival.
For sure.
Do you think maybe this will be, maybe something like this will help put a spotlight on, like, look at these amazing people.
Yeah. Shout out to Pharrell for even like bringing it up here. There's a couple reasons why. And he's a big fan of go-go. So yeah, that would be good. I think maybe if people see the size of such a huge concert and all these artists coming here, yeah, maybe it can inspire people. Like, let us not be in the audience. Like, it should be, you know what I mean? Let's not be in the audience no more. It's right in the center of our city. Let's not be in the audience.
Say that again.
Yeah. Like, that's not why we looking at.
Wow.
And that's definitely no shout out. Pharrell's bringing a huge economy, a huge opportunity. But this is like to the artists. let's get out of the audience. We should be we should be performing. We should be at this level. We should be a part of this. And
which he's done a better job than most festivals that come to this area.
Yeah, he gave these locals a discount. He's been around to like a couple of schools. He didn't just come in and like he's really made his rounds.
He just added Young Manny. He just added like a couple of more.
Backyard's performing. That's gonna be
Backyard. Ray Essence.
Yeah, Ray Essence. So he's hip to what's going on. But hopefully, like I said. Similar to like old hip hop showcases, the rappers are in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So like now, hopefully like looking up there, he's like, all right, how can I be up there but also have my city support me? You know what I mean? So I think that's one big thing.
And just real quick about Pharrell, like that's people don't consider where Pharrell's from. The DM, like most people don't consider that the DMV, but like. That's one huge thing that's a part of this documentary that is a heated conversation, like debatable conversation in this whole thing. So like, what is the DMV start? Where does it begin?
I have an answer for that.
Okay. Oh, let's say because we got a couple answers for that.
My answer is there isn't a physical line. It's the mentality of the people. So if the Capitol's the center, all directions from the Capitol. The moment where go-go does not seep into your soul, that's where it ends at. The moment there is no carry out with mambo sauce is where it ends at. But it's the go-go pulse. If you get so far out that go-go doesn't literally, you know what I'm saying? Like what go-go is, man.
Sure.
Go-go it's almost spiritual. It's almost gospel. So if it doesn't feel like the gospel in you, that's just where it ends. There is no line.
So that's one way of looking at it. Some people say within 495, like inside the Beltway.
The last metro. Where is the metro stop? Where the last
Some
bus
people
goes,
say that it is literally D.C., Maryland, and Virginia in its entirety.
Hagerstown. I don't think Hagerstown is
shout out to Hagerstown.
Shout out to Hagerstown, but I wouldn't. But here's the thing, go-go's been welcoming to everybody. So go-go's always been welcoming. So if you really want to honestly feel what the city feels like and why that energy has not died and why it still bubbles, why someone like a Joe Budden to this day is still talking about I didn't understand go-go till I went. One of the biggest podcasters out there said I didn't until I went.
A lot of people say that. For instance, like P. Stu said that, but a lot of people like said I didn't appreciate go-go till I walked in those doors and heard those drums.
Man, and I'm gonna be honest, it's spiritual, bro. It is.
You see the girls, you see the guys.
You see the guys. It's church. It is a different level of a church. But guys, again, I'm excited for the documentary. Please keep us updated.
Appreciate you, man.
As you guys are building on the final stages. Maybe we'll have you come back again.
Oh, we'll be back. Yeah,
we'll be back again, and especially when everything's done. So you guys could definitely do that. But again, congratulations on it. I'm excited to be in it. I'm excited to watch it. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Homegrown. Don't forget, we're going to be basically talking about all things D.C. D.C.'s never been any square miles. It's a mentality. It's a heart. It's a pulse. You one of us or you're not one of us, but you're welcome to come.
Talk to him, Howard.
Homegrown.